Good afternoon and welcome to ASEAN Business Report. Today is 16th of November 2011. You are right here with me, Ong Anan Amatayakun.
I'm also here with you, Natakorn Plodi, and in the past week, the fears of the floods ravaging the whole of Bangkok has been over. And right now, the government has been concentrating on approving and reassessing financial rehabilitation budgets for those hit by the floods. However, there's also a noteworthy point that they have been pushing for a new amnesty law before.
For the Premier Thaksin, the
yes.
ex-Premier Thaksin.
Many people speculate that it's particularly for Thaksin Shinawatra, our ex-Premier. However, there's another factor that international investors have taken interest in, which is actually when will the industrial estates be back on operation?
Well, with that in mind, we have the Ayutthaya province here in Thailand that they have a plan. The industrial estates in the Ayutthaya starting to be back online or resume production by mid-December. That's a very good news, Kunatakorn. Well, seeing here on the screen, we're seeing several estates stating when exactly they will be back in business.
Yes, but let's start off on the right here. Factory Land Industrial Estate, which has 12 factories in the estate, is already operational.
Well, it's dry there, so they can resume production. But the other ones should resume by the early December. That's to the leftmost. We have Bang Pa In Industrial Estate to resume production on 1 to 5 December of 2011, depending on which factory you are.
Yeah.
So it won't start at the same time. We have 70 factories there.
And moving on into December, the 11th is expected for a high-tech industrial estate to resume production, where high-tech industrial estate has 90 factories overall. And also Rojana, mid-December, the 16th is the date that they expect that they can resume operations with 140 factories in there.
Right, and last but not least, we have the Saha Ratananakorn Industrial Park. That's 35 factories resuming production on the 20th of December 2011.
Yes, Kunonan, and with the good news that by mid-December, most of the estates should already be resuming their production, along with the cabinet approving a fund to help these estates with an estimated budget of 33 billion baht.
That's right. And with this story going on, we have Dr. Veeraphong Ramangkul, the chairman of the National Reconstruction and Development Committee. He will seek meetings with top executives of the insurance industry to reassure them of the government's best efforts to prevent the repeat of massive flooding inside industrial estates. Due to the unprecedented inundation of 7 industrial parks in Ayutthaya and Pathum Thani provinces, some insurance executives have voiced concern that international reinsurance firms may not provide coverage for factories in Thailand next year. More than 1,000 factories, many of which are Japanese or foreign-owned, were badly damaged by the floods. Insurance claims are estimated to run in tune of 200 billion baht or more. Veeraphong said he plans to go to London to meet top executives of major reinsurance firms to reassure them such an incident will not happen again. Regarding Japanese investors, he said senior executives of Japanese External Trade Organization, Japanese Chamber of Commerce, and Toyota Motor Thailand have reassured that Japanese firms will not leave the country. The Japanese also asked the government to issue special visas for Japanese engineers to come to Thailand to help repair machinery and equipment damaged by the floods. The government will also grant import duty exemptions on spare parts, machinery, and equipment.
And right now on the line with us is Kun Thanong Khanthong, the Nation editor, who has converged and talked with Dr. Veeraphong Ramangkul, the chairman of National Reconstruction and Development Committee. Good afternoon, Kun Thanong. Kun Thanong, so you got to talk with Dr. Veeraphong Ramangkul, and what was the topics of the conversation?
Yes, Dr. Veeraphong, you will be heading to London and also Tokyo later this month to discuss with the insurance executives and also investors there, so that to assure them that Thailand will be back on track, in the aftermath, of the flood. In London, it will be a quite interesting trip, for him, because he will be meeting with the top executives of Lloyd of London. Lloyd, as well known, is one of the world's largest insurance companies.
Yes.
So far, the damage, from the flood, for the Thai industries, is about 30%, of all the insurance coverage of 800 billion baht. So that puts it around 240 billion baht. There won't be any problems, for the industries or the factories to reclaim this amount. But for next year, the problems will arise, when these factories or these plants, will have to buy new insurance. If Thailand can't come up with an assurance that this kind of disasters won't happen again, there is a possibility that the insurance costs, will have to rise. As you might know, the insurance companies in Thailand have a limited capacity to assume all the risk. Once they take in the insurance premium, they have to diversify this risk. What they call reinsurance, to diversify the doubt. And in the end, it goes into the international market. And at the end of this line, is Law Insurance, which is the world's largest insurance company. And I think this will have to be done and sorted out, by Christmas, because after that, it will be holiday, and next year, all the insurance, will have to be redesigned.
Okay.
And as for the trip, to Tokyo, later on, Dr. Virapong, will head a delegation to meet with the top executives and private sector of Japan, Kaidan Rent, which is the top private sector organization of Japan. I think he will be trying to reassure the Japanese investors that his committee, will be tasked with the responsibility, of preventing the flood disasters, from happening again. And even though some Japanese companies, have threatened, to relocate their industries or their manufacturing operations outside Thailand to countries like Indonesia or Vietnam to diversify the risk. And Dr. Virapong, told me that he has talked to the head of the JETRO and also Toyota Thailand. The indications otherwise, he believes that most Japanese companies will continue to stick to Thailand because we have the advantage of the labor quality and also the geographical, ideal geographical locations here.
Mm-hmm. Right. So this will be an initiative by Dr. Virapong to reassure foreigners to stick to Thai investment. But what about the local rehabilitation? Does he have any part, or does he have any plan or initiations to take?
Yes, I think the next task for him is to, I think, really sit down and talk with the local agencies and administrations. I think particularly the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration, on how to really implement the flood prevention program.
Right.
The existing facilities or infrastructure put in place in Thailand over the past years, I think Dr. Virapong has pointed out to me, is good enough. The problem has more to do with enforcement. There are more than 3,000 klongs or canals surrounding or inside the capital, which help to carry the water. Bangkok is the lower part, and when the water flows down from the north, it goes into the rivers, into the klongs. The problem, has to do with the enforcement of the building codes, of the construction. Some private companies or investors or developers have encroached upon these waterways or these floodways, and they have buried the klongs to build residential projects or even factories or plants. I think this is the immediate one of the immediate tasks of this committee to really have to sit down and talk to all the agencies involved as to how to enforce the law. I mean, which projects that stand in the floodways or in the waterways, will have to be removed. I mean,
right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Khun Thanong, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.